we had an outstanding experience with CGIF. You know, interesting, as a pastor in seminary, they never tell you how to build an $82 million facility. And so this beautiful campus is here really for two reasons. One, because of the grace of God, and number two, because of the glory of God. It's what God wanted for His people. I think it's what God wanted for the community. And CGIF will always be our friends. Sometimes people think about large churches and they think, well, you know, large churches are pretty self-sufficient. They have bankers in their own church. They have people that can help them secure loans and those deals. And all of that is true. But for us, and the Idlewild story was simply this: 3 weeks before we were to move in this beautiful campus. This campus is 146 acres. It's 450,000 square feet under roof. 3 weeks before we moved in, we came to a stark conclusion that was very concerning. So we began to discover that in this process that we were several $1 million short. Well, I knew Eddie McClellan. I had heard of CGIF. I did not know if they would talk to us or not. The bank we were dealing with felt like because of more documentation would be needed, we need to know what happened with the change orders. They finally just said to us, we think the wells run dry for us, which I would expect them to say that. So we really had no one to turn to. CGIF reached out to us because they had heard from someone on the state board that Idlewild might want to talk to them. And we found them nothing but just a class act operation. It went like this. We talked to them on a Thursday. They asked us to send some paperwork. Their board approved it, and they gave us by Monday a verbal agreement that we will loan you $4.5 million. And the first 3 years, interest only. By that Thursday of that week, they had us signing documents in the office together. And by the following Tuesday, we're talking $4.5 million within a span of 10 days. The money was in our bank, and we were rolling. You know, I think the difference is simply this. The they are we. And CGIF is us. It was like talking to a family member about something very difficult. Sometimes in family members, it's hard to talk about money. Not with CGIF. They not only understood, they caught the mission. They understood the vision. They work with a lot of churches. They understand building. They understand ministry. They understand timelines. They understand humanness. And our experience with them was that we felt like we were sitting at a reunion talking to some people about what was very personal to us, but it wasn't private. They were willing to meet with us, and they were willing to work with us, and they did. The project was 146 acres, 450,000 square feet under roof, and it took 2 years to build this campus. It took us 5 years to plan it, so we were in this project for a total of 7 years. And we have just watched God do some incredible things, and people come to know the Lord, families be restored, addictions broke, God's glory working in the lives of people, not because of a building, but because of the gospel. And it was a gospel preached inside this building. This is just a tool. People say, Pastor Ken, you have a beautiful building. And I say, you know, it's always more beautiful when people are in it. And so it gave us an opportunity to build something to the glory of God because we needed to. I didn't come to Tampa, Florida to build a big church. I came to Tampa, Florida out of obedience to the Lord Jesus Christ to reach people for Jesus Christ. It just happens to be that When I compare who we are in Tampa, Florida, and how many lost people are here, I still don't think it's a big church. It's very, very small in comparison. I read a book about 10 years ago. It was one of those life marker books that kind of change your life. And it was a book that was called The Church of Irresistible Influence. And Robert Lewis wrote that book, and the question, I don't remember everything in that book, but I remember this question that stabbed me in my heart. And he said this: if your church was gone tomorrow, would anybody miss it? I thought, miss it? Could they even find it? And so we began to shift the paradigm a little bit of serving our community. And so we're in 23 inner city schools right now. We just planted a church in the inner city. We have projects that we call Love Loud, where we are feeding not only the hungry, but we have an orphan care ministry, a widow's ministry, and we are out in the community for this reason, to tell people, Luke 14 says, go to the highways and the byways and compel them to come in. And he said, Jesus said, do this for people that cannot pay you back. And it's transformed my life, and it's transformed our ministry. And so being out here on exciting Ottawa Boulevard with this church, this is just a tool. You know, big churches aren't better. Small churches aren't better. Better's better. And what I like the most about CGIF is simply this. You can have 13,000 members like this church, or you can have 300 members like other churches, and you get treated exactly the same. But I would say to them, from the bottom of my heart, this pastor in Idlewild Baptist Church says thank you. Thank you for the way you loved us. Thank you for the expediency in which you met our need. Thank you that you don't do it just for us. And as a result, we now invest into CGIF. They were there for us. We want to be there for them. And so we have $200,000-300,000 that we put back into the investment fund. Why? Because we will never, ever forget a friend. There is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. In this case, CGIF was not only our friend, they were our brother.